This is Good Morning Texas.
Good morning, it's 6 o'clock. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Joey Horta.
And I'm Sharday LeRae. You know, this week has been pretty cool. I like it.
Yeah.
It's been hot here and there, but I think the rain that we've been having in the past few weeks have kind of cooled us down a bit.
Any more of that on the way, Josh?
Yeah, just a little bit. We're going to be dry today, but more rain chances set to come in this weekend. Out there right now, plenty warm, plenty humid, 70 degrees as you look outside on our Clark Roofing Cam in Waco. We'll see temperatures climb to 78 by 10 o'clock, mid-80s by noon, and later on this afternoon into the lower 90s. It's going to feel like the mid-90s with the humidity, but this is exactly where we should be for this time of year in June. And today kicks off the first day of meteorological summer. So we'll be warm and humid today with a very low rain chance. We're going to start seeing temperatures climb from here on out. And we also kick off hurricane season today. And coming up here in a few minutes, I'll have a look at some of the factors that will be influencing our hurricane season and a look at that 10-day forecast coming up.
All righty, Josh, thank you. You know, summer is already right around the corner. A lot of people spending time outdoors.
That's right. And 25 News reporter Nakea Simon is live outdoors at Cameron Park with more on what you can do to keep yourself safe as we get ready for those high temperatures. Good morning, Nakea.
Good morning. That's correct. It is June, so that means summer will be coming up soon. And we've seen a couple people beginning their walk and their run as the sun starts to rise in the later hour. And that's one of the tips that you want to make sure that you do once you begin your outdoor activities. Heat exhaustion can cause, due to high temperatures and humidity. Excessive exposure to heat can cause a range of illnesses from a heat rash to heat cramps and heat stroke. Park Ranger Justin Shepard is prepared to welcome hundreds of people to Cameron Park and wants everyone to be safe.
Cameron Park starts to crank up in May, June, when things start to, people just get out of school, start to want to get out, kind of see outdoors. We have about 23 miles of trail in Cameron Park. People like to use that. So probably then it starts to taper off in July, August when it starts getting hot. But when people just start coming out earlier.
Like I mentioned, before you are heading outdoors for the summer, limit your activity to the morning and evening hours. Try resting often in shady areas to cover, and of course, use sunscreen and hats. Coming up on Good Morning Texas, I'll have more tips for you as we head into the summer days and the hot temperatures. Back to you.
Alrighty, thank you, Nakea. Well, the summer heat also means increasing demand on our state's power grid. ERCOT unveiling the Texas Advisory and Notification System, or Texans, Wednesday. Now, its goal is to rebuild trust through transparency by maintaining up-to-date information on the power grid. It's set 4 levels for grid condition, but critics say ERCOT needs better policy to manage demand, not just a way to ask Texans to conserve energy.
How many times can you call a conservation alert before the public goes, I'm out? Right? I mean, is it the second time? Is it the 5th time? Is it the 8th time? Is it never? I don't know.
ERCOT also saying Texans shouldn't worry or have to worry this summer. They're calling this program a way to address problems before they pop up. Now, this comes after ERCOT released its seasonal assessment forecast earlier this month. That report revealing concerns about a demand outpacing supply during the hottest months of the year. The reason behind the spike is population growth. Officials say over the last 15 years, power output grew by just over 1%. Meanwhile, the state's population jumped by nearly 25.
Texas has a new top cop temporarily while Attorney General Ken Paxton is sitting on the sidelines. Former Secretary of State John Scott taking on the role until after the impeachment trial. He previously served as Deputy Attorney General for civil litigation when Abbott was Attorney General. The Texas Tribune reports at least 6 people from the office are now taking a leave of absence to help defend Paxton. Scott has 34 years of legal experience. He's argued more than 100 cases, both at the state and federal level, including the U.S. Supreme Court, He was appointed Chief Operating Officer of the state's Health and Human Services Department.
And Just a friendly reminder happening today, you might notice a swarm of first responders around La Vega High School, but school district police say there's nothing to worry about. A large-scale law enforcement training exercise, and district police say you might see fire trucks, ambulances, and even a helicopter, but it's just a drill. And the Texas Rangers are celebrating 200 years of service this year, and the party, it's coming to Waco. There's a whole slew of events happening at the Extraco Event Center. Today and tomorrow, there will be a barbecue cook-off on the Extraco grounds. There will be great food, live music, and a chance to learn more about DPS. That event is open to everyone.
We're expecting to find out today who will lead Killeen ISD as its next superintendent. The announcement's expected later this morning. The lone finalists will have to wait 21 days before accepting the job. Former superintendent left to take the same job near San Antonio. Meanwhile, Killeen ISD is hiring, and they've got a job fair coming up today. In 5 minutes, a live interview will let you know about all the opportunities up for grabs and what's known to be a very rewarding career.
And in a historic move, the debt ceiling deal passes the House as the U.S. moves closer to preventing an economic disaster. We've got your top story in just a minute.
And a warm one is on the way today. Rain chances, they'll be returning as well. I'll walk you through that forecast coming up.
Man, you can feel that humidity out there as soon as you step outside today.
I know it's kind of like,
Yeah.
makes the hair puff up, but hey, I love
It's like
big hair.
when you open the dishwasher and all that steam
I
comes out.
know, I
Jeez.
know. Sometimes soothing, but sometimes it can be a pain. And we were just talking about being outside and making sure you're aware of, the dangers of heat, and humidity plays a big role in that too.
Yeah, humidity can make it feel a lot hotter here in Central Texas. And of course, with the recent rainfall we've had, it is going to make things feel even more humid. That's going to be the case today. Of course, today is June 1st, Joey.
It is.
It is June
Yep.
1st. And you know what that starts? Not only does it start meteorological summer, it also starts hurricane season here in Texas. And we know that's something we have to pay attention to. And it starts today, but know that it is going to take a while to get into the meat of hurricane season. Here's a look at the total storms here going back to 1851. And notice we start off fairly low there around June and July. Then we really pick up. August, September, October. Those are the months we have to watch closely here in Central Texas. Let's talk about some of the factors that are going in play here this hurricane season, because typically you would want to have a warm Gulf as far as what would fuel our hurricanes. And as you look at this map here, which is a map of the water temperatures versus where they should normally be, we once again have a warmer than normal Gulf and Caribbean Sea. That would tend to promote a more active hurricane season. But the catch is this year, as opposed to the last 3 years, we have warm water off the coast of South America. That indicates a developing El Nino. This leads to more rain here in Texas, but it also helps to shut down the hurricane formation there over the Gulf and over the Caribbean. The reason this happens is because we have higher wind shear, which tends to promote less tropical activity. That's when the winds above are a little bit stronger than the winds below, and that helps to shear apart those storms before they can coalesce around the center. The problem is we have a developing El Nino, so that could mean that it'll take a while to get that higher wind shear, and if we end up with lower wind shear, that can lead to more tropical activity. So that's something we're going to have to watch closely, is even though it is an El Nino year, we could still have an active hurricane season. And it could start with Arlene there. That is the first name on our list. Already we are watching a little system that is developing over towards Florida. Now, I don't expect this to turn into a hurricane or a tropical storm. The National Hurricane Center only giving it a low chance of formation, but still it indicates we're starting to become more active in the tropics, which means we'll have to watch that here in the coming months. Meanwhile, here it will be quiet. Upper 80s, lower 90s on the way. Normally should be at 90. Our record, by the way, 102 in 1911. We're going to be quiet today. We'll have some passing partly cloudy skies at times. Same tomorrow as well. The southeast winds keep the humidity around, so it'll still stay warm and muggy. By the time we get into the weekend, though, our next little storm system comes through, and that will bring some scattered showers and thunderstorms both Saturday and then especially on Sunday, with isolated to scattered showers and thunderstorms holding on through much of next week as well. So enjoy the rain-free days while we have them. Get out the car, take it for a wash, maybe mow the lawn, because the rain chances are coming back starting this weekend and heading into much of next week. Mid to upper 80s building back in next week as well.
Josh, thanks. If you're looking for work, the Help Wanted sign is up at Killeen ISD. They've got a job fair happening today at Taina Maya is here to tell us all about it. Good morning.
Good morning.
Great to see you, as always.
Same here.
Last time I ran into you was the first day of school, the first week of school at Killeen High School.
Yeah, so now the school year's ended.
Yeah.
We can't keep going this long in between visits. But I do want to tell you today, though, we're wanting to meet every new employee that'll hopefully be joining us on the first day of school in August.
Yeah, it's a big one coming up. Let's take a little trip down memory lane. Show us that video, guys. Remember this?
I do. It was excitement. I think the kids didn't really understand how much energy it took to be live for the entire show, but they brought it. Killeen High School, in fact, some of those kiddos just crossed the stage this past weekend for their graduation.
44,000 students in the district?
44,500 is our projection, and we're of course looking for employees from everybody when we're talking from a grounds crew person, a bus driver, any coaches out there, basketball, soccer, classroom teachers, but beyond that, we're looking for counselors. We're looking for people to help in our HR department. There is a place for anyone that wants to have a place to call home in Killeen ISD.
Okay, let's talk about starting salary, for example, for the teachers. What is that?
We are right now at $56,160,
Okay.
and this has not been increased because, of course, the session just ended and people were waiting to see if there was going to be some additional basic allotment funding. I do anticipate, though, the board will bring forward a new starting salary probably in the coming weeks, which will only increase it. But right now, we are still top of the market right now for our starting teacher pay.
Okay, and so this is part of the way you're recruiting. You know, what else sets Killeen apart? Because during COVID, there was so much burnout, right, in the education field. And how are you guys overcoming that?
Well, our board got creative, and they are now allowing us to take a week off in October, a new fall break. So that's a really big deal. I think, I've heard cruises are cheaper in October. I've not looked into it yet, but, that's a great place for a time for a family to take some extra time off, alleviate some of that pressure of the beginning of the school year. Additionally, we have longevity pay. So if you've ever taught in Killeen ISD or ever worked for KISD and you come back to our district, we'll pick up that longevity stipend right where you left off. So if you had 7 years in, you're going to get that stipend for your years worked, which that adds and only boosts people's overall salary pay. We have no cost to employee health insurance plans. I mean, there's a ton of perks. It's really about making that employee find the right home within our district. We are so big. We are, really confident when we tell people that we know you can find a place to call home right here in our district.
Okay, tell those candidates where to go today.
Harker Heights High School at 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can have a chance to meet all the different departments, our campus leaders. Everyone will be there shaking hands. You might even see someone else there, depending on a 9 o'clock meeting that we have today. I just want to throw a little teaser out there. But there is a really big announcement happening today for Killeen ISD. Our Board of Trustees will hopefully be naming a lone finalist for our Superintendent of Schools.
Okay, stay tuned right here. We'll let you know when that happens. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you, Joey.
We appreciate it. We'll be right back. .19 now. These are the top stories we're following.
New developments in the Justice Department's classified documents probe. Now, multiple reports say federal prosecutors now have an audio recording of former President Donald Trump bragging about possessing sensitive government papers. The recording is from 2021. It could undercut Trump's arguments that he either declassified papers or didn't know about their existence.
A bill that would raise the debt ceiling heads to the Senate today. House lawmakers passing that overnight. This bill would raise the ceiling for 2 years and also cut spending. Lawmakers are hoping to get the bill to the president's desk before the deadline on Monday.
And two more prominent Republicans set to enter the 2024 presidential race. Former Vice President Mike Pence and former New York Jersey Governor Chris Christie expected to launch their bids next week. They're the latest in a growing field of contenders, including the front-runner, former President Donald Trump.
All right, 6:20, and Josh already reminding us that summer's knocking on the door.
I mean, it's there. I feel like its foot's already kind of in.
Don't let it in, please.
Please.
If I had everything in my power to keep it back, I would, because the weather out there right now has been really nice here over the last few days. Lower 70s out there currently. It is muggy, but by the afternoon, it warms up. We get into the upper 80s, lower 90s, and once we get into the meat of summer, this is going to look pretty nice. 90 degrees in Gatesville today, 89 in Waco, 90 in Salado. Notice the rain chance is very low. I think we're rain-free today, 89 in Centerville and 89 in Mexia, and should approach the upper 80s and lower 90s in the Brazos Valley as well. So prepare for a warm one today. It's not summertime warmth here in Central Texas, but it's going to be warm enough. I am tracking some more rain chances on the way. I'll have a look at when it could rain again coming up that 10-day forecast.
All righty, Josh, thanks. Around Texas this morning, Austin police now have a man in custody who they believe is a serial killer. 62-year-old Raul Meza is now charged with 2 murders, but detectives say he might be connected to at least 8 other killings. Police arrested him Monday near a bus stop. They found him with duct tape, zip ties, and a gun in his backpack.
But I will let you know that Mr. Meza said he was ready and prepared to kill again, and he was looking forward to it.
Investigators say he's got a long history of violence. Back in 1982, he confessed to sexually assaulting and killing a 3rd-grade student, but he only served 11 years of his 30-year sentence. He's back in jail now. It's not clear when he'll face a judge. Meanwhile, the local band getting ready to showcase their talent in downtown Waco.
That's right. We introduce you to 3 young men who used their downtime during the pandemic to fine-tune their talents. They're now taking the local music scene by storm.
And another rain-free day today, but don't put the umbrella away just yet. More rain chances are on the way. I'll let you know when. That 10-day forecast coming up.
She's something. Saw you cross the road, trying to get over to you. Thinking and wondering of what I should tell when I go and talk to you. So
A little groove to get you going this morning, and summer concert season is here, and it's an opportunity for all of us to discover some new artists in our own backyard. And one of Waco's up-and-coming bands is made up of 3 young men with a very unique sound. You've probably heard of Smooth Nature if you've ever been to a local coffee shop or live music scene here. I caught up with the band to learn the inspiration behind the music.
It started off just by Marvin buying a guitar, because Marvin is my brother. So him just buying a guitar one day, and I just started playing it. And a little bit later, we met Gerald at a Stay Classy, and we were just like, maybe we should actually play music. You know, this is fun.
Well, if you want to catch Smooth Nature in person, they'll be on the bigger stage this weekend. They'll be performing during the Levitt Amp Waco Music Series this Saturday at 5 p.m. So, yeah, gotta check them out.
They sound good.
They sound real good. Love it. All right, well, something else that sounds good is giving away a new Good Morning Texas coffee mug.
Sure does. Music to our ears, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Let's give it away. Congratulations to today's winner, Deb Hayden. Deb, we'll let you know how you can pick up one of these Good Morning Texas mugs.
If you want one, just go to our website, kxxv.com/contest. Click the mug, give us your email address, and we'll give another one away tomorrow. But I can just picture myself sipping coffee, listen to those guys jamming out.
I know.
You know? Yeah.
I would forget. Like, if I went to go coffee break, I'd forget that I had to work.
Right.
Kind of just get sucked in there. But yeah, it is, like we said, the meteorological first day of summer, right? But it is already feeling like to sit outside and listen to some live music on a Friday night.
And you know what? The nice part is we're starting off summer kind of slow. We only recorded 2 90-degree days during the month of May.
That's great.
For reference, the year before, last year, we recorded 22.
Whoa.
So I'm telling you, it is going to be a nicer summer this year. Fingers crossed. Texas always has this way of making up its mind, but at least from that little indicator, it looks like summer will be just a little bit cooler, at least than last year. Of course, last year was one of the hottest on record here in Central Texas, so it's hard to end up hotter than that. You can see out there right now the Clark Roofing Cam and Killeen showing you what is a quiet morning in Bell County. We're starting off in the mid-60s. We'll get into the mid-80s by 2 o'clock, and we'll likely top out the upper 80s, lower 90s. Still, the humidity will make it feel like it's in the mid-80s, so get ready for that. Now, radar shows you things are quiet here locally across Central Texas. Rain up across the Panhandle. That should stay away. We'll watch little rain chances try to work back in by the weekend, but for the next couple of days, we stay quiet. Temperatures in the 90s, the southeast winds holding on, keeping the humidity high. Once we get into Saturday, that's our next best chance of rain, especially in the afternoon into the evening with little scattered showers possible. And we'll keep those rain chances through the weekend on into early next week. Maybe approaching 90 again by next weekend with more rain chances on the way.
All right, much more to come on Good Morning Texas.
It's now 6:30, and we'll be right back.
Connecting Central Texas. This is Good Morning Texas.
Good Morning, thanks for waking up with us. I'm Joey Horta.
And I'm Sharday LeRae. Listen, it's the first day of summer, meteorological summer, but it's also June 1st. It's Say Something Nice Day.
Hey, there you go. Josh, I like the tie.
Oh my gosh, thank you. It
That was
feels
nice,
nice
right?
to.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
something
guys,
nice.
y'all look handsome this morning. How
And you
about
look
that?
really pretty.
Well, thank you, Joey.
We're just
Both
happy
of y'all
to say
look great
nice
today too.
Thanks.
All right. Let's get to the nitty gritty here with the weather.
I'll try to keep it nice weather-wise here. Here's the good news. It's not going to rain today. I know we've had a lot of rain lately. It's been beneficial, but it's nice to get a little break every now and then. Today will be one of those days. 70 degrees out there right now. Plenty humid to start the day. We'll get into the mid-80s by noon, upper 80s this afternoon, feeling like the mid-90s. So a very warm, a very muggy one on the way for today. But compared to where we should be this time of year, it's right on target. We aren't starting off June on a hot note, despite the fact meteorological summer begins today. Hurricane season also starting. I'll have a look at some of the factors leading to how our hurricane season may play out coming up.
All right, Josh. All eyes on Washington this morning, where lawmakers are hammering away at a deal to raise the debt ceiling. Still lots of questions and backlash.
And 25 News Washington correspondent Joe St. George joins us live now. And Joe, the debt limit deal passed the House last night and now heads to the Senate. But when could we see a vote, and what obstacles does it face?
Good morning. I don't think anyone here in Washington is hanging the crisis averted banner just yet, but the temperature regarding this entire debate has been brought down considerably in recent hours. In fact, it's barely simmering at this point. And that's because if you were to ask anyone in Texas, anyone here in Washington, the biggest challenge with raising the debt ceiling this year was always passing a bill through the House of Representatives. And that's what's happened last night, quite frankly, by an overwhelming margin. Over 300 members of the House voting for the deal brokered between President Biden and Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, which claws back some unspent COVID funds. It reinstitutes federal student loan payments come late August. Those are some of the biggest parts of this legislation. Eliminates some funding for the IRS as well going forward. As you mentioned, the legislation now goes to the United States Senate, where it has bipartisan support. Both leaders would like to see it passed as quickly as possible. So where are some potential hiccups that could prevent this bill from going to President Biden's desk in a timely manner? Well, for one, any one senator can really slow down the process. And there is a demand by many senators for an amendment process to happen. Remember, there are a number of lawmakers in the Senate who are not happy with the final version of this bill. For instance, Senator Tim Kaine, the Democratic senator from Virginia, is furious that there's a language in this bill related to a pipeline in West Virginia. He would like that removed. If any amendment actually passes, the legislation would then have to go back to the House for another vote, and you can see why leadership is working hard to prevent that. So there may be amendment votes, but certainly leadership is working to make sure that no amendment actually passes so that President Biden can get this legislation in a timely manner, perhaps this weekend. And as far as timeline, we're going to get more guidance from Majority Leader Chuck Schumer this morning on when a potential vote could actually happen. All indications is that the procedural process will begin this morning, setting up a final vote on Saturday. But the way the Senate works is that if senators agree together to move the process along, we could get a final vote as early as today, most likely tomorrow.
All right, Joe, and Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, getting a lot of criticism from within his own party now because of this deal. So, Joe, is his job at risk?
Well, if you listen to conservative talk radio around the country, conservative talk radio on some of those AM stations in Texas, there are some Republicans who are furious that the Speaker negotiated this deal with President Biden. The Speaker used a lot of political capital to get the bill through the House of Representatives. In fact, just to bring it up to the floor for an actual vote, he needed some help from some Democrats, which is really rare. Usually the Speaker can rely on votes from his own party to do that. But a number of Republicans have spoken out again against this bill. And remember, Speaker McCarthy only became Speaker by razor-thin margins last January. And it's certainly possible that there could be a challenge to his speakership as a direct result of this bill getting through the House. There is one perhaps benefit that Speaker McCarthy has this morning. is there's no clear alternative to him. So while yes, maybe very few, a small handful of lawmakers would like to see somebody else as Speaker, perhaps, there is no real clear heir apparent, if you will, for that to happen. But we'll be monitoring the political fallout from all of this, not just for Speaker McCarthy, but also for President Biden. Bottom line is, you're waking up having your pancakes with us. The country is on track to prevent a catastrophic default, which many economists have warned could cause a recession.
Now you're making us hungry, Joe. Thanks for that. Always good to see you, Joe.
All right, well, on Capitol Hill this morning, the investigation into former President Donald Trump's handling of classified documents is heating up.
According to reports, federal investigators have new audio recordings that could be a crucial piece of evidence. Andrew Dimbert explains.
This morning, ABC News confirming federal prosecutors are in possession of an audio recording from nearly 2 years ago where former President Trump appears to acknowledge having classified documents. ABC News has not obtained the recording, but sources say Trump references a document which he claimed was about a potential attack on Iran, while indicating he was aware of the legal concerns surrounding the possession of the secret document. The audio was recorded in the summer of 2021, more than a year before FBI agents searched Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort, seizing more than 100 classified documents after Trump's team failed to comply with a subpoena. The recording also reportedly includes Trump saying he was not sure if he could declassify records after leaving the White House.
I took the documents I'm allowed to.
Trump has repeatedly denied any wrongdoing as the special counsel investigated whether he violated the law or put national security at risk. Trump has insisted the recovered documents were automatically declassified.
Did you ever show those classified documents to anyone?
Not really. I would have the right to. By the way, they were declassified
What do you mean, not really?
after. Not that I can think of.
This is all coming as Trump's feud with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis intensifies.
Mr. Trump, what's your response to Ron DeSantis calling you out by name?
Yesterday, both Republican presidential candidates were in Iowa, where Trump called DeSantis a very disloyal person during a radio interview. DeSantis is trailing Trump in the polls by double digits, but he's telling voters that Trump is unable to win another general election.
The tired dogmas of the past are inadequate for a vibrant future. We have to look forward. We can't look backwards. We must have the courage to lead, and we must have the strength to win.
Meanwhile, the Republican field to take on Trump is getting more crowded. Former Vice President Mike Pence and former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie are both expected to announce their candidacies next week. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
Well, the city of Waco highlighting some of the best musicians across Central Texas this upcoming weekend. We introduce you to a local band who found their love of music during the peak of the pandemic.
And we're tiptoeing into summer. We got a little refresher course on how to beat the heat so you don't overdo it. All right, 6:41 now. First day of June, and that means thinking about the tropics.
Thinking about the tropics for sure, and as we were saying, getting ready for summer heat, we want to get ready for hurricane season as well.
Yeah, both of those start today, so not only do we have to worry about the heat here in Texas, but also we can sometimes see some of those stronger tropical storms trying to work up into our neck of the woods. Today officially kicks off hurricane season, and while things are quiet right now, notice we are going to see the tropics start to become more busy. You start to see that climb in June, and it peaks around September. We deal with this all the way through the fall, even some hurricanes happening in December. So we'll keep our eye on the Gulf starting today. And speaking of, let's talk about some of the factors that are going into this hurricane season, because there's a lot of things we look at to determine how busy the season is going to be. And one of them is the fuel for the hurricanes, in this case, the warm Gulf waters. And right now we're dealing with a warmer than normal Gulf of Mexico and Caribbean Sea, which would tend to suggest that we would see a more active season. But let me take you down to the south, because not only are our waters warm, there are very warm waters off the coast of South America. And if you go back to grade school, you remember the warm waters off the coast of South America means El Nino. In this case, it's a developing El Nino. That actually has an effect on hurricane season. We've been stuck in a La Nina pattern, which has led to a more active hurricane season. El Nino tends to cool it off a little bit. The reason being is because it leads to higher wind shear over the Gulf of Mexico, less tropical activity because that shear tears apart the storms. Now, if the El Nino doesn't develop quickly, we could still deal with a lower wind shear like what we have seen here the last few years, which means those storms can develop quicker when the fuel's there. And in this case, the fuel is there. So a little bit of a wild card happening, and something we'll have to monitor very closely here through hurricane season. Here's the official forecast from NOAA, Colorado State, and even the UK Met Office. Now, NOAA predicting a fairly average hurricane season, if not a little bit less than average. Same with Colorado State, but the folks across the pond in the UK, they're predicting a very active hurricane season because they don't think that El Nino is going to develop as quickly. By the way, our average 14, 7, and 3. So despite the fact we're looking at that, remember, it only takes one. So we'll watch it whether it's an active or an inactive season. Already we're seeing a little bit of activity, a low chance of formation with this system off the coast of Florida. If it did happen to form, it would be Tropical Storm Arlene, but I don't think that's going to happen. Meanwhile, here we'll be quiet, upper 80s, lower 90s this afternoon. That's where we should be this time of year. Shouldn't see any rain today. We'll keep the southeast breezes around, which means the warm, the humid air hangs around the next couple of days. By Saturday, though, we start to get rain chances working back in. We'll continue that into Sunday, and the moisture will be slow to clear. So that means we'll keep isolated rain chances next week as well. Temperatures hang around near 90 here the next few days. They'll be in the mid-80s Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, and we'll be approaching 90 again next weekend. Have that umbrella ready.
Well, new this morning, it's the first day of June, which means summer is right around the corner, and you may have some outdoor activities planned for upcoming months.
25 News reporter Nakea Simon live at Cameron Park now with a few things to keep in mind to keep the family safe. Nakea?
Good morning, Sade and Joey. That's correct. As we stand here at Cameron Park, a lot of people are beginning their walk, they're beginning their run early this morning, and that is one of the tips that you want to keep in mind as we head into the summer months.
As the heat starts to crank up as the summer goes, start coming out earlier. I would probably check, also look in with the weather. So the weather's not necessarily just the temperature. Look into the humidity as well. The heat index can climb up, can make you sweat more, something you're not probably, you're not used to of us coming off the winter months. Make sure you bring a lot of water. And it's always good to come out with another person, just so you have someone else that can be there just in case something goes wrong, or it's always good to have an exercise partner as well.
Excessive exposure to heat can cause a range of illnesses from a heat rash, heat cramps, and heat stroke. So you want to take breaks often if you are heading outdoors, including periodically stopping kids from playing to check in. You want to, of course, get plenty of fluids. Sport drinks are the best, and get to a cool area quickly at any sign of dizziness or weakness. And of course, you want to use sunscreen as you get exposed to the sun, and of course hats. And as the summer goes along, we'll have more tips for you to keep yourself and your family safe. Reporting in Waco, Nakea Simon, 25 News.
Thanks, Nakea. Hey, they are the soundtrack of summer right here in Waco.
That's right. In 2 minutes, we'll get to know the talent behind a band that's spicing things up in the heart of Texas. We've been talking about this all morning. The weather is getting warmer outside, which means the city of Waco is bringing back its summer concert series. It's a chance to listen to some good music and highlight some of our local talent. I got to catch up with one of Waco's up-and-coming bands, Smooth Nature. If you stop at your local coffee shop in Waco, there's a chance you might get more than a cup of Joe. You could also get sounds from Gerald, Dearian, and Marvin.
We're 3 different people. Like, we listen to different things. We all have our different styles.
3 band members blended together to make one musical treat.
Smooth Nature, because we smooth and it's just part of our nature, so
While their name may be new to some, their love for music isn't.
It started off just by Marvin buying a guitar, because Marvin is my brother. So him just buying a guitar one day, and I just started playing it. And a little bit later, we met Gerald.
I've been playing the saxophone since middle school in the 7th grade, and it's one of those things that it moves me, of course, emotionally, it just makes you feel good.
During a time where the pandemic pulled the plug on most music scenes, Smooth Nature spent that time perfecting their craft.
It was hard for us in our specific ways, but it was also a big time to cultivate things and to plan things and to get things going. We hunkered down. It was kind of us finding our road to music,
The group says doors of opportunity like the one here at Thirst Coffee wouldn't have opened if it wasn't for the local love and support.
We want to also give a big shout out to the homie Andreas, the owner of Thirst Coffee. Be sure to come through, be sure to get y'all a drink.
And if you're lucky, you'll also leave with the Smooth Nature experience. Well, if you want to catch Smooth Nature in person, they'll be on the bigger stage this weekend. They'll be performing during the Levitt Amp Waco Music Series. That's this Saturday at 5 p.m. So
They're
there you
smooth,
go.
man.
They are smooth.
Yeah.
All three of them are just so talented. And Gerald actually taught himself how to play the saxophone, by the way. So
hey, that's impressive.
Pretty
Yeah.
great there.
Well, up next this morning, Killeen ISD is getting ready to reveal who their next superintendent will be today.
And we've got all the details on the district's job fair also happening today.
I'm tracking what's going to be a warm and humid day across central Texas. More rain chances are coming. Your forecast is coming up.
The regional finals for high school baseball arrived as the China Spring Cougars took on the Taylor Ducks. A packed house at Baylor Ballpark as the Cougar and Duck faithful came together for Game 1. All right, we'll start off in the first inning. China Spring first at bat, and Brennan Daniel gets a good hit out to center field, and the Cougars take first base. But later on, Ducks pitcher Chris Perez gets the strike on this pitch, and then Taylor looks to get the third out, and the refs rule it so the Ducks are able to get off the field and take over. Now we go to the bottom of the second inning. Brennan Daniel pitching for the Cougars, and that would be ball 4 to get the Ducks on base. Next up, this is going to be a deep hit out, and China Spring just misses the catch, and that was enough of an opening for the Ducks to go all the way around and score the first run of the game to take a 1-0 lead. China Spring just couldn't find their footing in this game. They do lose Game 1, 3-0, and Game 2 is scheduled for Thursday at 4:30 p.m. All right, moving on to college football as we are getting closer and closer to seeing the Bears return to McLean Stadium. And to give the Baylor faithful a little taste of what's to come, the Bears unveiled schedule updates for the first 3 games of the season. Now, looking at the first 3 games, we see that they're all home games, by the way. Opening game is set for September 2nd against Texas State, and that has a primetime kickoff of 6 p.m. Central Time. Then we head to the next 2 games, and yes, you're reading those correctly. The next 2 home games for the Bears are early games, with both of them against Utah and Long Island being at 11 a.m. Well, early games or not, it would be great to see college football return to our screens. All right, that's going to do it for sports. Back to you.
Thanks, Shaji. It is 6:54. These are the top stories we're following.
We're expecting to find out today who will lead Killeen ISD as its next superintendent. Now, that announcement is expected later this morning. The lone finalist will have to wait 21 days before accepting the job. Former superintendent left to take the same job near San Antonio.
Killeen ISD also hosting a job fair today from 10 to 2 at Harker Heights High School. Starting pay for teachers, $56,000. You can either attend in person or reserve a virtual interview time slot on that district website. Back to the forecast now before we hit the road this morning.
Hey, you're not having to really pack anything today if you're headed out, though, right?
Yeah,
Josh?
you really aren't. You really don't need the umbrella today. Things are going to be quiet. Pack the sunscreen, I'll tell you that much, because once the sun comes out, it can burn you quickly. There's the view right now. Clark Roofing Cam in Killeen is quiet in Bell County. Temperatures in the mid-70s by 10 o'clock today. Will be in the mid to upper 80s later on this afternoon. Nothing on radar. Big showers and thunderstorms up across the Panhandle. They're actually seeing some of the highest river levels since the 80s just north of Amarillo. So very significant rains falling there. Meanwhile, we'll stay quiet. Upper 80s, lower 90s on the way for today. That's where we should be this time of year, though. Our normal's 90. The record, by the way, 102 in 1911. And tonight, still staying pretty muggy. Mid to upper 60s and lower 70s continuing. I don't think we see any rain today. The only exception will be in our eastern counties where you may see a spot shower. The rest of us all dry. We'll be dry tomorrow as well. Notice those winds stay out in the southeast, though. That keeps the humidity around. So despite the fact we aren't seeing the rain, the humidity will still make it feel plenty warm outside. Mid-90s is what it'll feel like here over the next few days. We'll watch thunderstorms start to flare up again in the afternoon, evening on Saturday, and then that will continue into Sunday. Those rain chances lingering around, with even lingering rain chances through much of next week. So you don't need the umbrella the next few days, but you will need it next week, starting this weekend. We may be approaching 90 by next weekend again, guys.
All right, thanks for starting your day with us. Good Morning America's next.
Hey, get out and make sure you enjoy the first day of June. Have a good one.